Okay, children, now after asexual reproduction in plants, we are going to see sexual reproduction. You have studied in 10th standard that which is the main reproductive organ in plants, and that is flower. So we are going to study today structure of the flower. You have already studied it, but then also I will explain you in short, and then we will continue structure of anther. So in sexual reproduction, what is sexual reproduction? It involves fusion of the two gametes. Two gametes are there, that is male and female, or two sex cells are there. They are involved in sexual reproduction. A specialized reproductive structure in the plants is flower. Now what is the function of flower? It produces haploid gametes. It is its first function, and second is to ensure whether fertilization takes place or not. To ensure whether fertilization takes place. Now flower is what is flower? It is an highly evolved, or it is a modified shoot. Now why it is modified, that I will explain you while explaining the parts of this flower. Now there are two, means how many parts are there in the flower, or how many balls are there? First, two are accessory balls and two essential. So accessory are calyx and corolla, and essential are androecium and gynoecium. Now this androecium, it works as male part and gynoecium as a female part. The major events which are involved in sexual reproduction. The major events are, first is meiosis, and second is fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes. When fusion of gametes takes place, there is formation of zygote, and when zygote is formed, then the offsprings are produced. So this is mainly in sexual reproduction. These are the main events. Now what are the characters of sexual reproduction? Same characters are also formation of male and female gametes, formation of zygote, and embryogenesis. Then the sequential events which are taking in fertilization, they are in 3 stages. That is pre-fertilization, then fertilization, and third is post-fertilization. Post-fertilization. So these are the stages of the in sequence in reproduction. Now we are going to study structure of flower. Let us see flower. Already you have studied it. These are the petals, and this is calyx. These are the sepals. Now it is joined here. These are accessory valves which protect inner part of the flower, that is the reproductive organs, gynoecium and androecium. Now in this case, androecium has 2 parts. What are they? Means it contains anthers. Androecium contains anthers, and these anthers are, means actually we should say stamens for that, and stamen has 2 parts, that is the anther and filament. Now here in this flower they are present here. See, this is filament and this is anther. And second structure is gynoecium. Gynoecium, it is female part. It contains ovary, style, ovary and stigma. So let us study from outer part. These are sepals. So these sepals protect the petals. Petals are colorful. They attract the birds and insects for the pollination. Now inside this there is ovary. I have opened this structure fully here, and ovary See, this is ovary, style, and this is stigma. Now stigma, it is flat or bulb like portion because the actual pollen grain sits here, and from this the pollination takes place, means the pollen tube grows and it goes here. Inside this ovary there are ovules, and ovules contain the eggs. So male gamete from through this style, it reaches the eggs for at the time of fertilization. In this androecium, stamens contain anther and filament. Anther and filament are joined by a connective tissue. This connective tissue is sterile because it does not take part in reproduction. Anthers, they are bilobed or monolobed. Now monolobed anther is known as monothecous and bilobed is known as dithecous. And this is filament. Now if the anther or if the stamen is attached to thalamus, because this all parts they originate from the thalamus. If you see here, ovary is attached here, and if this part, innermost part, it is ovary, then style, and then stigma. From this portion only arise these filaments and anther lobes. So here then petals and sepals already we have seen here in that parts. So this is the structure of a flower. Now here in this case, if this filament is attached to the thallus body of the flower, there are two types. Either it is attached to this thallus body or it is arises from the petal. Now in this case, it arises from this tip. It is at the tip, not attached to the thallus. So here this end, when it is attached to the thalamus, then it is called, this end is proximal end, and this end is distal end of this anther. Now stamen and this anther and filament, it together makes a stamen, and many stamens together make a androecium. And here ovary, style and stigma, they make a female part, and it is called as a carpel. Main carpel together, all these three parts together are called as gynoecium. So this is the structure of the flower. Now we will see some different types of anthers based on the attachment of the filament. Now if the filament is attached at the base, then it is called as basifixed. These are anther lobes. It is attached at the base, so it is a basifixed. Then next, if filament is attached on the dorsal side, then it is called dorsifixed. If filament is attached from this inner portion, from along this anther lobes, then it is adinate. And there is one special type, its anther lobes are big, long anther lobes are there, and the filament is attached somewhere in the middle, and this is dangling anther. Wind move hota, it moves with the wind, and it is mostly seen in the anophyllous flowers, means where the pollination takes place by wind. I will show you this type because it was present in my courtyard. These flowers are their lily flowers. In that lily flowers, see this. Filament is also attached to the thalamus. And from this thalamus, I will take out one. It is fixed inside. See this filament and anther lobe. So this is stamen. It is a special type in where pollination takes place by winds. So these are the types of the anthers based on the attachment of the filament. Now if we take section of the anther lobe, how many section? If you take this section, TS, transverse section, you can see like this structure under microscope. This practical is there for you. For practical we are doing this. So see, this is one lobe, this is second lobe, first lobe and second lobe, third and fourth. Now this section is of diathecous anther. Diathecous anther lobe, because there are this first and second lobe, like that, third and fourth. Now this structure, inside this pollen grains are formed in this. We are going to study detailed structure of this, but just now I will explain you. This is called as microsporangia. When it is young anther, in young anther, this structure is microsporangia, and when it matures and pollen grains are formed inside it, then it is called as pollen sac. So pollen grains are formed here. They are male reproductive organ, that is androecium. Androecium contains stamens. Stamens contain anther lobe and filament. And when we study, anther lobes are of two types, that is monolobed or dilobed. They are also called as monothecous or diathecous. And in the section, if you see, there are these lobes, you can see inside these lobes there is this microsporangia which forms microspores, means that is pollen grains, and that process is called as microsporogenesis. During that process the pollen grains are formed, and that pollen grains then take part in the reproduction. So this is the structure of the flower. I have written and given points to you. You can copy them in your notebook and study it. Next, structure of the anther. We are going to study TS of anther in our next lecture. Thank you.